Welcome back, Dram Fam, to the Whisky Bible Whisky Review number 1. So, what do I think of the Arran 10-year-old? Let me explain. This week we're going to be reviewing the Arran 10. This is a 10-year-old island whiskey, distilled and bottled by the Arran distillery on the Isle of Arran. It's kind of nestled in between kind of Campbelltown and Lowland, but this would be considered an island whiskey. This particular bottling is bottled at 46 ABV. It is not chill filtered. It is all natural colouring, so no caramel. I believe that it's aged in American white oak, but there's no information that I can't find out the exact casks that it was finished in. Arran, on their website, say they only use either American oak or sherry, and I definitely didn't get a European oak sherry thing going on in there, so I'm just going to go ahead and say this was probably matured in white American oak. You can currently pick a bottle of this up on Master of Malt for £33.90 for a 70 centilitre bottle. I'll put a link down in the description for that. So first of all, the bottle. I absolutely love this bottle. This kind of modern, tall bottle, yet kind of nods back to a kind of vintage style with the ribs, the wide open mouth. And I really like the natural cork with a big wooden stopper. The label is printed on what appears to be recycled paper, which kind of gives it this really old-timey, traditional, handmade vibe about it, which personally I really like, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic on the shelf. But let's have a taste, shall we? So, the nose. So the first thing I get on the nose, it's like a very light citrus and quite a light vanilla. It definitely has some subtle tropical notes in there. It's got quite a fruitiness that goes with it. There's definitely a toasted malt to it as well, almost a toasted coconut. Yeah, and there's definitely a subtle hint of grassiness, not quite a chlorophyll, but definitely a very slight grassiness to it. Right on the end, when I get used to it as well, I get kind of a bit of sawdust, like the old woodwork shop in school. So, onto the palate. There's definitely a honey-like sweetness. It's got quite a light biscuity flavour as well. Not quite like a digest, more similar to like a rich tea or something like that. Those biscuit notes give way to a very soft, mild, floral flavour, which kind of develops into with that sweetness kind of builds on like to a fruitiness almost. I've definitely getting like a hint of apple, similar to apple juice from concentrate, like that quite tart, dry apple flavour. I'm also getting hints of white grape and peach juice, if you've ever had that. It's got like a sweet, floral, maybe a bit earthy, but it's definitely got a biscuitiness to it. Yeah, I'd say white grape and peach right on the end. Texture-wise, I consider this a somewhat medium-bodied whiskey. It's not too clingy and it's not oily, but it's definitely got like a really nice kind of rich sweetness that coats your mouth. I don't like to use the term smooth when I describe whiskey, but there's definitely nothing offensive in the texture. It's not leaving kind of a bitter, oily or dry residue in my mouth. It's actually really nice and toasty. As for the finish, it's got somewhat of a medium finish and not much evolution. It's quite a kind of single note finish. There's a touch of oak and a nice savoury toasted cereal flavour to it. If you've ever had Shreddies in the UK, it's very similar to that, kind of a savoury cereal malty note. Maybe even a touch of kind of drying saltiness, but it's definitely not a salty whiskey, I would say anyway. There's definitely like a salty, dry, savoury cereal note right on the tail end of it. Very nice indeed. So, in summary, I'd say this is a great dram for beginners and veterans alike. It's very inoffensive, somewhat middle of the road with regards to its palate. It's not very rich or especially light or anything in particular. It's a very easy drinking dram. It tastes a lot higher quality than the price might suggest. I'd really like to try maybe something a little younger or a cask strength equivalent of this. I think some of the notes for my palate could do with a little bit more punch. I'd like for it to be a little bit more aggressive, but I definitely recommend it to anyone. And because of that, I will give this an 8.3 out of 10. Thank you everyone very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this review, please drop a like down below and leave a comment and tell me a whiskey that you'd like to see me review in the future. If you'd like to help the channel, please hit the subscribe button down below and click the bell icon to be notified when I upload next. And on that note, Slàinte mhath.